Underdog stories are the best in disc golf. Who cares when the number one in the world wins? Like they're supposed to, that's why they're ranked number one. But what about when you're not even in the top 40? When you've never won on tour and no one is expecting it from you? That's the story we're covering. How one player came out of nowhere and took over a major disc golf tournament. And that story is about Casey White. Enjoy. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't, but this is a great way to intro Casey White.
That is the tilt, Brian. Our favorite disc.
For these situations, it's a great disc. Here's a Spike Heiser for Casey.
Yeah, you know, it's so stable. What did we just witness?
Tilt, baby.
No chains?
I had no idea that he made that shot.
Maybe the most famous tilt shot ever, Casey has been a part of Team Discmania for quite some time, but not on the top tier team, the Sky team, and that's worth noting heading into the rest of the video. It sets the tone at something bigger than just winning on the line. Anyways, Casey has been playing Disc Golf Pro Tour events since 2017, but it wasn't until 2020 when he started being on the tour full time. In 2020, he would end up in 48th at the end of the season in points standings. 2021, he would be 36th. 2022, 42nd, and 2023, 52nd. Always fighting to make the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship right on that cut line of players. While competing on the Pro Tour, Casey has also been one of the most consistent disc golf video makers on YouTube. He has built quite an audience while traveling the world playing disc golf courses, showing off not only his skills on these courses, but also some of the funnest places to travel to for disc golf. He's entertaining and funny, incredibly likable. It's not just on the course that Casey's been putting in the work, he's also been building a brand for years now. But with all this competing in YouTube and overall work ethic, on the course, it's been a little bit different. He would have a breakout performance in 2021 at the Texas States, but that final round would catch up to him. And it would seem that way in other events as well. He would put together a couple really good rounds, but in order to win the Pro Tour, you have to be really close to perfect. Over the years, he's had some top 10s, but never had that moment where it looked like he could really close out that win. Until 2024, that is, at a major event. Casey White was looking like he might become a major winner as a huge underdog. 2024 Champions would be the first major of the season with a change in venue. Due to issues with W.R. Jackson, the home of the Champions Cup for 2022 and 23, it would be moved to Northwoods in Peoria, Illinois. Keeping with the tradition of Champions Cup being an incredibly wooded tournament, Northwoods would combine that with changes to their course and also being known as the toughest course on tour. So that set the precedent for a very exciting major. With expectations of a major, players like Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki, and Calvin Heidenberg would be expected at the top. Or players like Gannon Burr and Anthony Barella, who have been two of the best players of the season so far. But after day one, only one player would be at the top, and that would be Casey White, 7 under par. Day 2 would bring some issues though. Just like with some other events, weather would be a factor. So day 2 would pretty much be a wash for those on the top of the leaderboard. Instead, rounds 2 and 3 would be played during the same day on Saturday. Very big moving day, 36 holes for some players, grinding it out at Northwoods among some of the toughest woods disc golf probably ever. After having an entire day off, Casey would have a lot to think about. He's in the lead, at a major championship. Will he crumble or will he play on? Round 2 started out crazy for him, birdieing every other hole for almost the entire front 9. This drive on hole 5 was ridiculous.
Scoop that back because it's a very slick slope to get down there to get your disc. Casey going Heiser flip. If this skips, it could be decent. Oh, it skips and flies. Oh, it's in bullseye. Come on, Casey.
After shooting 5 under on the front, he would finish the harder back 9 with 1 over. 11 under in total heading into round 3. And you got to remember, just a little bit of a turnaround, then the leaders are off to play their second 18 of the day. Casey wouldn't slow down. He would actually start out 3 under through 4 holes. He now had a 6-stroke lead and was playing so smooth. Keeping it in the fairway, making putts, scrambling, doing everything you need to at Northwoods to thrive. But then something would happen to Casey that was not expected. He would par the next few holes. We go to hole 8, where he's fighting to get up and down to save his par.
As Casey steps up to his lie, it's worth noting at this point in the round, his finger actually splits open and he has started to apply new skin to repair it. And that's a very bad time to have your finger split open.
And that would do it. With a cut on the throwing hand, 6 shots to play with, Casey would seem to hold on for dear life. Being great with the forehand approaches, they would become a little erratic as he bogeys holes 9, 10, and 12. Birdied 13 though, and it was a flash of hope. He was tied for the lead, just 5 holes to play on the round, just keep it together at this point, but 14 was playing as the hardest hole for the event, and Casey could not conquer it.
Early don't.
Okay, the double kick is very well done. So from here, a lot of times you get tempted into trying to turn it into the gap, and you just need to... You have to be disciplined. Oh. Shot number 5 for Casey hits a tree and back to trying to figure out the tape on the finger. Oh, no, Casey.
And that was it. Casey would add a couple more bogeys into his round at the end, and not only was he not in the lead, but he wasn't even on lead card for the final round. After being 3 under par through 4 holes, Casey would shoot 4 over for round 3. Like that, it was all gone. But there was a moment, 3 under through 5 holes during the final round. Maybe, just maybe, Casey could do it. Maybe he could bring an insane comeback, shoot lights out with the pressure gone, and force these guys at the top to take that championship from him. But he finished at 3 over par for that final round. 6-shot lead during round 3, ends up finishing in 14th place for Champions Cup. In the end, Casey wasn't able to hold on, and dang does that hurt. From those first 2 rounds, and even through some of the third round, I was thinking he was in control. But with all this happening, it gives some hope for him in the future. The hardest course on tour, and one of the biggest events of the year, with a major title on the line, and Casey was in it. He was leading after 2 rounds, and at one point, he had a 6-shot lead. Like, yeah, losing sucks, but dude, he had a shot at beating every single top-ranked disc golfer in the world, at the hardest course on the Pro Tour. I noted something very early on in this video about Casey and his status with Discmania. If you look at how they have their team formatted, this result by Casey maybe had a lot more on the line than we think. The Sky team, for the past few years, it's been mainly 3 disc golfers who have shined bright and had a decent backing. Players like Eagle McMahon and Simon Lizotte, who have both left. Currently, Kyle Klein, Gannon Burr, and Nicolas Santilla are the 3 players on the Sky team, and for good reason. You have 2 major winners in Klein and Burr, and 3 players who have won on the Pro Tour. Nicolas is not only a new champion, but also one of the biggest European draws in the sport. But you drop down 1 level and there's Casey White on the signature team, alongside other young players for Discmania. This win, winning a major title, I don't know if it would have been an automatic move up for Casey, but it could have changed things. How could you not have a major champion on the Sky team? If at worst for Casey in the future, it could have been bargaining power to have a bigger contract or move to a brand that would put him at the top of their pro teams. Winning Champions Cup could have meant that Discmania would have 3 of their 4 Sky team members as major champions. For Casey White in his future, I want to show you something they had to say after the event on Instagram. As with most players, you have these posts after coming close to winning. They all kind of say the same thing, like, almost won, gonna keep my head up and move on to the next event. Casey highlights something else though, and it's worth sharing. Something that threw us for a loop is that we were basically playing 2 full rounds in one day, something we're definitely not used to, especially on a course this long and difficult. While I was holding the lead off the course, my body was consumed with anxiety, excitement, and difficulty fueling my body. However, when the announcer said my name on the first tee of round 3, I was as locked in as I've ever felt in any tournament in my career. Through 5 holes of the third round, I felt unstoppable. I knew that this tournament was mine and I just had to keep grinding shot by shot. The hurdle I faced in the middle of round 3 was a tear on my middle finger, which I have dealt with many times in my career, but never on a course this difficult, and especially not while leading a major. I can probably say it never threw a wrench in my confidence, but Northwoods requires your absolute best on every single shot, and I was not able to execute that. Regardless of being anxious about the lead, like we all know when someone's at the top of the leaderboard and it's like, what is going on here? This person's never played like this. They have to feel that too. Casey's never been in this good of a position during an event, but the admittance of saying he's never been locked in like that before doesn't matter the result. I think Casey can get back to that. We saw what he was capable of. We just need to see more of it. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to comment down below what you thought of this event and of what happened to Casey. I've been pumping out a lot more videos late and just wanted to say thanks for liking and subscribing and all of that. It helps out the channel and I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.